Hi, everybody. This is Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and Geo Collaborate. It's Friday, April 4th, 2025. The rain goes on, and so do the severe thunderstorms. Fortunately, not as many tornadoes during the morning this morning as we had yesterday and the day before, but that is going to change as well. I'll show you the convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. Lots of good data here today. I'm still going to try to make it quick with this update as we try to head on into the weekend, but we do have a major flood threat that continues to evolve. Some areas in Kentucky right now have received 6 to 7 inches of rain. Lots of flood warnings are in effect there. Flash flood warnings and flood warnings that expand across a large area. One thing I do want to mention here that's pretty exciting. This is the GOES 19 satellite, which will soon become GOES East. I don't know if officially they've renamed it GOES East as of yet, but I've noticed the data on the older GOES East satellite starting to get some hits and things like that, like they're getting ready to turn it off. And this one here is GOES 19. So for all intents and purposes, may not be official, but we have a new satellite with new equipment. It has been checked out, and it still may be going through some final checkouts here. But the good thing is it's performing. The data is being downlinked, downloaded, and processed successfully and made available to us so we meteorologists can explain to you what's going on, particularly with this serious situation that we have. What I've done with this particular satellite data is I've combined two channels. One, the visible channel, so you can see the visible data. That's all this here, and I can zoom in and show you details of like the cumulus clouds and things like that. But I've also overlaid what's called the long wave band 13 data. That is the long wave infrared window. It's called the clean window, so we can see what kind of showers and thunderstorms are erupting within those visible clouds that we're seeing. The reason we call it a visible sector is because it reflects the sunlight. So we can only see the visible sector during the day. When it gets nighttime, the visible clouds go away and we have to simulate it with infrared data. I know, it's a lot of weather geekiness, but it is an exciting day for the NOAA NESDIS satellite division as GOES 19 becomes GOES East. And really, I think it's going to last till 2032, 2035, something like that. It's really amazing how long these satellites last. So let's dive into what's happening with this flooding event that's been unraveling over the last several days here. You can see in Oklahoma, there's some thunderstorms. There were severe thunderstorms there earlier. Now they've diminished a little bit, but then you can see the string of yellow. That's what we're looking at. These are the strong storms dropping very heavy rain. Look at that across Kentucky as well. And there's a fine line here that's happening just over around the Tennessee-Kentucky border, where the rain has eased off a little bit, but the flooding continues. And some of these areas will see flooding on these rivers for weeks, if not months to come. And I'll show you that prediction from the National Water Center, which is a National Weather Service center in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, on the campus of University of Alabama. The National Water Center is focusing on everything freshwater, so they can monitor, model, and warn everybody about floods that are coming. So let me switch over to the mesoscale sector for the new GOES East satellite, and that is this one right here. This is imagery every 1 minute. You can see it counting up here, and you can also compare this time with the time in the bottom right. I've added the UTC, or the Greenwich Mean Time time there, so you can compare the satellite imagery and the data that I'm showing. Sometimes I can go ahead and update it and see what the latest information is right here, and that'll go into motion as well. But these areas in orange are really concerning because they're dropping very heavy rain, thunderstorms over areas that are already saturated and the water is coming up in many, many areas. This is the mesoscale sector showing imagery every 1 minute. That's the end of the sector right there. So it focuses in on a very tight area so it can scan every minute. That's why the sector is smaller. And you can see this rain and precipitation moving off to the east. This isn't radar data, it's satellite imagery. And you can see the eastward edge of that sector here. So I can move it over this way. But moving into West Virginia are those showers and storms as well. Had a few in the mid-Atlantic region, Maryland, Delaware area early this morning with some very heavy rain that moved through. They weren't persistent, but they did move through. So what I'd like to do is take you over to GeoCollaborate and show you what it looks like from the standpoint of these flood warnings, because we have a lot of large flood warning areas. That's the areas in red that you see here. That is right in here in central Kentucky and southwestern Kentucky. Also in eastern Oklahoma and northwestern Arkansas, flood warnings are going on now. And that is, in some cases, water rescues are happening there because of the heavy rain. This broad area in green is a flood watch that's happening, and that is going to remain in effect for the next couple of days until we get this weather system to move out of here during the evening Sunday into Monday. But anywhere you see red, there is serious flooding going on, and I can zoom in here a little bit on GeoCollaborate, and that extends from West Virginia into parts of Kentucky, also here. And the bright green area is also a flood warning. I'll click on one area here. This is a flood warning. If I click on the red area, it's a flash flood warning. There is a difference in that the flood warnings are longer term, and the flash flood warning is happening because of heavy rain falling right now out of these storms. And so these flood warnings are going to be in effect for a while. Notice these other flood warnings that are along rivers. Yes, they're called river flood warnings, and they are expanding in their area because of all this rain that's falling in this area. And then look at this. I'm going to take this all the way down the Mississippi River, down towards New Orleans, and you can see the Mississippi River is in flood warning. So the water is rising. It's going to be working its way all the way down to the mouth of the Mississippi River into the Gulf because of all this water that has to go somewhere. Right? When it falls, it goes into a watershed that drains into rivers, streams, and then into larger tributaries and rivers that go down into larger bodies of water like the Gulf and the Atlantic or the Great Lakes or the Pacific. So that's what's going on with this level of broad area of flood watches and warnings. And that is going to continue. Now I'm going to, on GeoCollaborate, I'm going to take this full screen here so we can show you what's going on here at a larger scale. And I'll zoom out just a little bit here as the map redraws. But we do have this broad area of flood inundation expected. So that's why we have flood watches here and the flood warnings that I just described. I'm going to turn off that area right now, and I'm going to turn on the convective outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. So this is the outlook for where severe thunderstorms could be today, and this is where it is from the red area and orange area and yellow area from Texas on into Arkansas, Boot Heel and southeast Missouri, southern Illinois and southwestern Indiana, also western Kentucky and central Kentucky. This is where, and I have overlaid here the flood warnings that are in green. But this is an area where we could see, again, heavy thunderstorms, and there's a high likelihood for that in central Arkansas and southeast Missouri during the day today. Also this area in northeastern Texas and a little bit of Oklahoma. I'm going to turn that off and turn on the outlook for tomorrow. Look how it eases just a little bit. We're still going to have heavy rain. It just may not come in the form of extremely heavy thunderstorm activity that could also produce tornadoes. But this is going to be thunderstorms and also just heavy rain. This trough of low pressure that is over the western United States is forcing all of this precipitation to move up to the northeast Meanwhile, high pressure off the coast is holding it at bay, not letting it come to the east. But it is going to weaken and move out so that trough can move through. So this is the area of convection expected during the day tomorrow, Saturday, and there's where you see it happening and forecast. Now, what I'd like to show you here is the excessive rainfall forecast. This is over the next 3 days. So we're talking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Where could that excessive rainfall be? And it's over the same place. We've been talking about this for multiple days. Anyone within the All Hazards Consortium, sensitive information sharing environment, you need to brief your truck drivers. You need to brief logistics and transportation areas. This is going to be a very dangerous area to transport anything through over the next several days because of the heavy rain. So if you can, avoid these areas. If you have to drive into these areas, make sure you're aware of what roads are closed, what inundation is going on in certain towns, and stay away from them. You don't want to get in the way of responders that are trying to rescue people. And also, I'll zoom out just a little bit here on this image and show you it does extend out a little bit further as well into Ohio. This is a lower chance, but still a chance of excessive rain falling over the next 3 days. But this is the bullseye right in here, and that's the area that's been getting inundated for so long. Okay, I just want to talk about quickly the Mid-Atlantic area that had some showers and storms overnight or early this morning. You can see I've put in the mesoscale sector of the new satellite, GOES 19. I'll still call it GOES 19 until NOAA officially calls it GOES East. I haven't seen any statements to that effect so far. It may happen later on this afternoon, but you can see what's going on. I've enhanced the clouds again, 2 different satellite channels. You can see some showers moving up through Pennsylvania. Some breaks in the clouds too may allow some sunshine to destabilize the atmosphere a little bit more in the mid-Atlantic, which will actually cause perhaps more showers and thunderstorms to form. But right now, nothing severe in the mid-Atlantic area. Now, what about that conveyor belt of moisture? This is, once again, the blended total precipitable water product. It's very cool. It takes in sources of other satellite data, profiles of the atmosphere, so we can monitor the moisture at all levels of the atmosphere. It's blended and total precipitable water. How much rain could fall in a certain area if we squeezed it all out at one point? Then we color code it, and you can see in green what's going on here. And I'll do just a little bit of drawing here just to show you what's happening in this area. So here is that moisture. Look at that coming out of the Caribbean into the Gulf, and it's just being forced up into the southeast. And that is a lot of moisture. And what happens when it hits a frontal system or some sort of convergence area? It rains out. And this is the area where we're seeing that heavy rain and those flood warnings happen. Right in this area here. And so that's going to continue for the next 24 to 48 hours. We're going to see more rain falling, and you can just see it. Look at this coming out of the Atlantic, through the Caribbean, up through the Florida Channel, through the Gulf, into the southeast U.S. It's a conveyor belt of air. We call them atmospheric rivers. This is an atmospheric river, and we can see it with this blended total precipitable water product. We're going to have this moisture, this high humidity, these high humid levels around high dew points for the next couple of days. That, combined with convergence in the atmosphere, winds coming together, and that trough of low pressure forcing all the precipitation to move in this area, is causing that flooding. Okay, here's a wider look right now at the national radar picture. I showed you some of the more close-in rainfall totals, but here is the rain that has fallen all around this area. Now I'm going to get a little bit closer here just so we can focus in on what's happening. You can see the heavy rain right now is in southern Illinois, this whole area here, and then going down into Oklahoma. This is where we're seeing the heaviest rainfall currently, and we're talking about 1:10 Eastern Time right now, this Friday. That is where we're seeing some more flood warnings being issued, and the rain is thankfully pulled a little bit to the north in parts of central Kentucky, but the flood warnings continue. And this is just a brief respite because we have much more heavy rain coming. Here's the computer model forecast. This is the GFS. This is the global forecast system from NOAA and the National Weather Service. Looks a little bit different than what I typically show, but I want to talk about quickly the trough of low pressure that is forcing all of this activity to come in. And here is that high pressure. This is that area of high pressure. I'm talking about maybe about 15,000 feet up in the atmosphere. It's called the 500 millibar level. There's another kind of geeky term for you. But look at this area of low pressure. This is a trough of low pressure, and it goes in and over that ridge. This trough cannot move eastward with this high pressure system here. It is basically a block. But this trough of low pressure, as this eastern side of the trough spreads out a little bit like this is causing that area of convergence with the moisture. And the high pressure is forcing air to come in off the Gulf. You can see that. That's all the air coming in like this, converging right here over the Ohio Valley. And it's nothing to do with any sort of modification. This is a weather pattern that happens naturally. We have a very wavy jet stream going on. Another big trough of low pressure near Alaska and the Aleutian Islands. A ridge, so warmer air is coming up this way towards British Columbia, Vancouver Island. Just a little bit of warmer air. But then this big, deep trough has been in position for several days, causing this whole area here to be inundated with severe weather and flooding. This is a setup that we do not like to see. Meteorologists know this is a recipe for disaster when it comes to heavy rain. Now let's put this into motion now with the forecast. We're back to the surface, and I can show you where the rain is, where it's expected to fall, and you can see it here, heavy rain. This is by this afternoon and 2 o'clock Eastern time, so in about 45 minutes, this should be close to the state of the atmosphere and where it's raining and where it's not. But you can see this is Kentucky right here, so still that area of showers and heavy showers is in northern Kentucky. That's what I just showed you on the national radar as well. But let's put this into motion and see what happens over the next several days. So this is early in the morning Saturday. Look at this. Arkansas, Missouri, Kentucky, western Kentucky, Tennessee, this heavy area of rain. That's going to exacerbate the situation. Remember, I showed you yesterday, so likely there's at least a 10% chance some of these areas could exceed a 1 in 100 year flood. That is going to be catastrophic in some areas. I'll continue this forecast here as we go on. Rain is going to spread into Pennsylvania and into New York. No snow this time. Some showers around in Maryland, but look at the heavy rain once again setting up in Kentucky, western Tennessee, Memphis. You're going to be under a flood warning for many days as this rain continues to fall. And again, if you have a chance, if you're in Memphis and you haven't seen flooding yet, more heavy rain is coming. So think about a place to go and get out of there if you're not on a high area where you can survive that kind of heavy rain and the rivers coming up rather rapidly. Critical infrastructure, roads, bridges could be washed out in some areas. Remember this, you want to turn around, don't drown. If you see a road that's covered in water or there's a puddle and you see it on both sides of the road, don't drive across it because you don't know what's under the water. It could be eroded. The road could be gone and you're just going to drive along and go right down into it. And you certainly don't want to ruin your vehicle or, more importantly, threaten the lives of yourself and anyone that may be in the vehicle with you. But this heavy rain is going to continue tomorrow afternoon, and it doesn't move out until later on Sunday. This is early or late Saturday night, and then into Sunday morning around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. And look at that, heavy rain continuing in the area across Memphis, east of Memphis to Nashville, you're going to be under the gun as well. So expect more flooding to happen, more rain on top of more rain. That is something that creates very hazardous flooding conditions there. When is it out of here? Well, I'm going to pause right here, Sunday night, because look at that. Look at this area right here. This is potentially good news, as long as it's not flooding rain, for any of the wildfires that may still be burning in South Carolina and North Carolina. Now we have to think about burn scars, and we have to think about mud flows and debris flows. If any of you live near the mountains where there could be a mud flow or debris flow because of rain, that could happen in the mountains of South Carolina and North Carolina as this area of heavy rain moves through. So that will continue to move to the east, but linger on into Monday morning and into Monday afternoon as this front then finally slides off the East Coast by early Tuesday morning, around midnight Monday into early Tuesday morning. But look at this. Cold enough air is going to change that rain into some snow showers in the higher elevations of West Virginia. But there's going to be a lot of cleanup, a lot of recovery, and a lot of rescues that are going to be happening between now and then in the heavy rain area. Now, finally, I just wanted to talk about the river levels and the prediction of what rivers may reach flood stage. There are quite a few in flood stage right now, but look at all these points. This is around western Tennessee into Arkansas. These are predictions and likelihoods that flooding is going to continue for weeks ahead. And it looks like any area in purple here is going to see flooding at devastating levels. And these river levels will remain in flood stage for a long time. You want to pay attention to your local weather forecast office. Pay attention to your local broadcast meteorologist, who will be talking locally about all of the areas impacted by these floods. And all of these predictions are showing potentially major flood levels for these rivers. This is from the Water Prediction Center at the National Weather Service in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where we're looking at precipitation totals and some areas already 6 inches of rain. As a matter of fact, let me show that to you. This is a precipitation total in central Kentucky right here. And we're talking about the pink, and that pink is showing 6 to 8 inches of rain. This is just today. Just during the day today, so far, 6 to 8 inches of rain has fallen through central Kentucky. And even up here in the yellow and orange, we're talking 2.5 to 3 inches of rain, 4 inches of rain down through southwestern Kentucky. And in the areas of orange and yellow is between 2 and 3 inches of rain. So that's going to happen. Look at the totals from yesterday. I'll switch this over to yesterday. And that'll draw back on to the map here. And look at this, almost the same spots. This is central Kentucky, but into western Tennessee around Memphis. Rainfall totals 4 to 6 inches of rain in western and southwestern Tennessee. We can monitor all this because we have rain gauges, precipitation monitoring. We have radar that is operating. And when those radars aren't down, they're measuring how much rain should be falling as well out of these clouds. And we also have spotters and a network called CocoRa's, which is a volunteer network where people report their precipitation during the day, and at least once a day, sometimes twice a day, or even more frequent. But this is a lot of rain that is falling. Flooding is going to be historic in some areas. This update's been for the All Hazards Consortium, the sensitive information sharing environment where we share information across platforms, from private sector liaisons in state emergency operations centers to private sector owner and operator organizations in the food, fuel, transportation, medical supply, energy, utility sectors. So we can keep commerce moving and we can keep power restored when it gets knocked out. And one final note, before last weekend, we had all that ice storm that ice falling in the northern border states. And then in Canada, a lot of customers, over 500,000 customers, were out of power in eastern Canada because of that. There's still over 100,000 customers, meters, without power as they recover from that freezing rain and ice storm. All because of this pattern that we're in, cold air to the north. That cold air has been situated up in Canada, and now we're dealing with these flooding rains. So very what we call anomalous weather pattern. It's not unprecedented at all. We are seeing more extreme events, and we're seeing more heavy rain events falling because when the atmosphere warms by 1 degree Fahrenheit, it can hold 3 to 4% more moisture. So what happens when it can hold more moisture? When it rains harder. Thanks a lot for watching this update. I'm Dave Jones with Storm Center Communications and GeoCollaborate. Maybe back tomorrow with another update. In the meantime, watch out for yourself. Don't drive over flooded waters. And please watch out for your neighbors. They need you more than ever, and you may save a life. Thanks for watching.